Who is the Gnosia? That is what I'm going to ask and discuss when I talk about the game Gnosia. Oh my goodness, guys, if you like Among Us, this might be the perfect game for you. I'm not even kidding when I say that. Of course, that is assuming you enjoy a good single-player experience. So without further ado, I give you my overrated review on Gnosia. And to top it off, let's talk about what is Gnosia. Well, Gnosia definitely, like I said, is very much like a single-player version of Among Us, where you and a group of random people are on a ship and you have to determine who is basically not who they claim to be. There are these entities known as Gnosia, and their entire purpose in this game is to kill everybody on the ship and essentially take it over. And so, like I said, you with a group of people have to discuss and try to figure out who the Gnosia is. The further you go in this game, the more interesting it gets though. Because you see, you as the main character, whatever your name may be, happens to be stuck also in a loop cycle with the other characters. So as you go through it and as you progress through the game, you'll discover eventually why you're going through all these loop cycles. You'll discover more information about each characters, their traits, their strengths, their weaknesses, their characteristics, their personalities. All of these things will slowly be unlocked because not only is this game a single player version of Among Us, it's also an RPG. That's right, you heard me. The thing that really impressed me about Gnosia was the fact that at the end of each loop cycle, you get literal experience points that you can apply to your character, and you can try to make them better at whatever it is they do. They do not just have to be a person that's discovering the Gnosia. You can actually be the Gnosia. You can be this entity known as a bug. You can be an engineer whose job is to figure out who the Gnosia is. You can be a doctor whose role in this game is to tell the crew whether or not somebody was in fact the Gnosia that you put to cold sleep, and even better, you can even be a Gnosia sympathist and just try to screw the other humans because you believe in the Gnosia's cause. Every single time everybody goes to sleep and enters warp speed is essentially the end of a round, or rather the end of a day. At the end of the day, the Gnosia gets to choose who they want to kill. They can only kill one person though, and there's also, by the way, a guardian angel that can save a person if they selected the right person that the Gnosia was attempting to kill, but that's a whole nother thing. But you get the point. And then after that person dies or doesn't die, then the group gets together on the next day and discuss who to put into a cold sleep next in an attempt to defeat the Gnosia. Then you as the main character must use those traits and abilities that I discussed that you leveled up here in the discussion panel and try to convince everybody else that you are either innocent or that somebody else is guilty, or you can even choose to collaborate with other characters in the game in an attempt to protect one another if you trust them or not. And it becomes this crazy, ridiculously fun game of who's innocent, who's guilty. There could be even times that you know exactly who the Gnosia is, and yet for some reason you can't convince everybody else that that person is the Gnosia. And that's the beauty of this game. This game is fun and challenging because you need to be able to convince others by leveling up your character's traits in order to basically convince them that they're the Gnosia. There are times where the person looks like the Gnosia, they can smell like the Gnosia. If you were to lick them, they'd probably taste like a Gnosia. They'd have a sign over their freaking head that says, "I am the Gnosia." And then they put you to cold sleep. And oh boy, does it make you mad, and I love it. It's that type of thing that makes you realize, man, if I had only chosen to improve my charisma. For as you see here on the screen, you level up in this game, like I said, and each one of these things gives you the abilities to improve certain things. For example, logic makes it easier to convince others that you're right, but charisma increases the influential power of your comments, making others more likely to agree and follow your lead. Let's say though you're the Gnosia and you're trying to kill everybody. It makes it nice to have charm because it makes you more amicable and thus less likely to be selected for cold sleep, because you as a Gnosia, you don't want to be put to cold sleep because that's how you die. I love everything about this game, and it's so fun because the more you improve these abilities, you can acquire actual abilities that you can use in your command list to help convince other people that you're not the Gnosia or that other people are. And if you are successful in defeating the Gnosia and avoiding the bug, like I said, there's a thing called a bug. We're not going into all the roles here, okay? People just roll with me on this. If you win the round of the loop, you get a experience points boost, and if you don't even stress it. Loop 27 will become now Loop 28. Loop 28 will become Loop 29. The game progresses whether or not you win or lose, but winning is always nice because you get those experience boosts. Here's the crazy thing though, sometimes losing is essential to this game because you can find out more things about the other characters kind of in that moments by literally sacrificing yourself. That's the genius of this game. There are situations designed in the game for you to basically screw yourself over, but in doing so you get to learn more about the crew and about the story. This is genius gameplay. This is genius. I mean, it's very rare in a game where you lose in a situation and go, dang, you know, it's a shame that I lost, but hey, on the brighter note, I gotta find out more about Otome the dolphin, and yes, there is a sentient dolphin, and she's awesome, except when she always murders me and she's the Gnosia. But that's beside the point. When it comes to negatives, there's really only one negative, and that's some of the dialogue can definitely get repetitive during the discussion sections. When someone uses their deny or their doubt or the certain scripted things, you can't avoid them, and you eventually will learn that you can just skip through and you can kind of glance over the dialogue, that you don't need to focus too intently. If they had the option to maybe just mix it up a little bit more so they felt like they weren't just constantly on repeat during the discussion thing, that would be the only real criticism I could give about this game. The crazy thing about Gnosia is that really is honestly the only real negative I see in this game. Leveling up your character makes me want to play several loops. Learning more about the characters in this game because each character is so unique with their own very well scripted personalities makes me want to learn more about them. And the more I learn about them, the more I could try to figure out different ways to actually win each loop. Plus, there's a whole, like I said, story behind the loops and everything that makes me want to continue further so I can understand what on earth is going on. This game takes you for a crazy fun ride, and it is highly addicting. One of the most addicting games I have played in a long time. I don't think I've been this addicted to a game since Slay the Spire came out. And this, in my opinion, is a much better game than Among Us. And like I said, you don't need other people to enjoy it. So with all of that said, what do I think of Gnosia? I think Gnosia is a borderline masterpiece of gaming. I really have never quite experienced something like it. It is insanity in a great way. It's like playing a board game, but you can actually play the board game by yourself, if that even makes sense. I love Gnosia, in other words. And I'm going to go out here on a limb and say my love of this game will continue, and I'm going to go ahead now and give this game an A. It's that good, guys. I'm telling you, you have to play it to believe it. It is worth the $25 asking price. I am so happy and so thankful I just gave this game a shot, basically on a whim, because this is one of the best Nintendo Switch games you can play right now. This concludes my overrated review of Gnosia, and guys, pick it up, man. I don't know how else to say this. I hope I have persuaded you in some way, and if it doesn't even make sense what I'm talking about here, I'm sorry I failed miserably, but it's just because the game's so crazy fun and weird. You just don't get games like this anymore. You have to pick it up and play it to believe it. But trust me when I say Gnosia's worth it. It's absolutely worth it, and I can't get enough of it. Let me know if you've played Gnosia. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask me. Until next time, guys, I am Bradley Overrated, out like a trout, and I think I might be the Gnosia.